in a league game since you've been in England, but clearly their manager is someone you know very well. Can you just explain what you feel about Marcelo Bielsa and how he's influenced you in terms of the way you manage football teams?
What could I say? I think he's probably the person who I admire the most in world football as a manager and as a person. I think he's the most authentic manager all the time in terms of how he conducts his teams. Like, he's unique. Nobody can imitate him. It's impossible. And especially his behavior as a person of the pitch, and related with the media, related with. I was fortunate sometimes. I'm not. I don't see him quite. And not every week, but the pleasure to, when I can spend time with him, it's always so inspirational for me. So my theory that the managers not depends of the value of how many titles or many prizes you want, because I feel far away about his knowledge as a manager. We won my teams more titles than him, but in terms of knowledge of the game and many things in training sessions, still I am away from him. And always is, I said before, when I was in the Premier League, so always a good present, a good gift to have him here in this championship in the Premier League, because his teams always is a joy to watch, and how honest they are, and always they want to attack, they want to produce some good football for spectators, and I think it's a good news for England.
People regard Johan Cruyff as being your kind of inspiration in terms of coaching, but would you say Bielsa has equal status in that way?
No, because I've not been with him in terms of day-by-day training. So Johan Cruyff by far was the most influential person in my life as a manager and also as a person. Because I was 4 years with them, and after, when I started to be a manager, I was helped incredible well a lot with him on advices and many things. But what is in Marcelo, in my point, is what I said before. In the world football, is the person who I admire the most.
Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Ben Ranson. Ben.
Hiya, Pep. It's the first time we've had the chance to speak to you since the Champions League draw. You were probably as surprised as the rest of us you didn't have to go to Shakhtar again. But in terms of the actual teams you did draw, what do you make of it? And is the biggest positive, given the current climate, the travelling? You don't have any of those really long trips that you've had before.
The draw is a draw. We cannot control it. The last season, the people said how lucky we were, and after we saw what happened with Atalanta, well, now is not a surprise. It was one of the teams that nobody won't face. So at the international break, we have all the clubs here in England. We have an incredible schedule in terms of the Premier League and Champions League, Premier League, Champions League, Premier League, Champions League. And we will see in the draw which will be the first opponents. But in Champions League, I have my theory that every game is tough, and hopefully we can recover people and arrive in the best condition as possible.
Following on from the meetings this week between the clubs, the Premier League, the referees around the handball rules, and specifically the number of penalties that have been given away, the interpretation of those rules is being tweaked this weekend. And I just wondered, are you happy to see the rules being tweaked with regards to penalties, or do you think it might have?
Yes.
And what effect do you think it will have to the game, the changes?
Football is an unpredictable game, so for example, the last hand from Eric Dyer, or the hand from Brighton against United, or in other hands when West Ham was not considered a hand against Arsenal. So everybody knows when there's some international intentional hands, or absolutely international, when the defender or one guy jump in the box and after for deflection go to the hands and rewards a penalty that is, honestly, it's quite ridiculous. But hopefully the referees, the biggest teams of the Premier League, even the important manager of this club, the Premier League, can decide the best for the game. Everything is the best for the game, to be most fair.
Okay, thanks, Ben. We have a question from Jim Conlon.
Hello, Pep. Just in relation to this weekend, Leeds play a sort of possession type game, build up from the phases, ball retention. How important is going to be your counter-attacking game to press Leeds high up the field and then punish them then on the counter-attack with the pace of Mahrez, with the pace of Sterling, and with the pace of Jesus? So do you need to really push up and meet Leeds in their own box and stop them building up from the back?
Every game has his own specific things, so we expect against Leicester that they did high pressing. It didn't do it once, and even with 5-2. So against Barley, they made high pressing, and no Leeds, they have a specific way to play, completely different than other team in the Premier League. And of course, we have to adapt, but we have to try to do our game, but they have to adapt to us as well. So, of course, but not just a specific point for the counter-attack. There are many, many aspects in every game. Always have to try to be control it without the ball, transitions and set pieces and so on.
Okay, thank you. Sam Lee.
Hi, Pep. Yeah, a couple of things on Marcelo. Have you spoken to him this week, recently, about the game? And and second of all, you've talked just then about that every game has its different demands, and you've spoken about Marcelo and the qualities of his teams. But when you analyse games against his sides, what do you have to tell your players to be specifically alert to and look out for?
They are a team. They do exactly what they have to do, specific, individual. They have a partners, the opponents, and they know exactly what they have to do. So they are a team. So they fight each other. They arrive with a lot of people in the box, and they defend a lot of people in their box with incredible efforts, the 30, 40, 20 meters. They have a good build-up, and in the right moment arrive with a lot of players. So yeah, it's a good team. Is all the Marcelo teams. I played, I think, 3 times in Barcelona against Bilbao when we were there, and all games were so complicated, difficult, and expected in the terms that what you face usually during the league when you play against his teams is completely different, and the approach is different. The way you have to attack and defend is completely different.
Thanks, Pep. And just if I've got extra time, I remember you said at certain points last season, after your team had maybe lost games or struggled with transitions or pressing or whatever it was, you said you were confident that you had some ideas how to improve that, and that next season it would be better. I'm just wondering if you're still thinking along those lines, that you've got the solutions to some of the problems from last season, and that this season will be better than last.
The way we play it, always will get transitions. If I don't want to get transitions, I set up back in my box 11 players, I will not get transitions. So it happened for the day one I was a manager, I got transitions. But the last season, I think it was not the important thing, that why we concede goals or we lost games of transition. It was another aspect, especially our mistakes that we have done in some areas that when you do it, it's difficult to solve it.
Okay, Fred Caldera. Fred.
Hi, Pep. Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah.
You just said about recovering players. I just wonder if you have any updates about Gabriel's injury.
He's not ready. Hopefully after the national break we'll be ready. Yeah.
Okay, and in general about him. What do you expect from him in terms of improvement for this season? Obviously, you're happy with him in general, but I wonder if you have any specific parts of his game that you expect him to get even better this season.
I think every season is better play than the season before, and this is a good point. I think strikers are so difficult the way they move in smaller spaces, and we have to try. He has to try to improve in the finishing in the last part of in the 18-yard box for the opponent, to be quicker, to be sharper, to be more precise in this area. Like, it's the most difficult one. So the striker is the most difficult position on the pitch, and but he's young and his will and desire to improve, he will get it. He's a guy we are completely delighted to have him here, and I have the feeling so every year is better play than the year before.
Thank you.
Guys, we'll take one more question, please, before the embargo, and that will be from Andy Hampton. Andy.
Hi, Pep. How have Ruben Diaz's first couple of days of training gone? Is he likely to play this weekend?
Yeah, he trained through training session yesterday and today. He settled good, and yeah, he's part of the team right now. We'll see tomorrow, have training session this afternoon, and going to the site.
Okay, and Ilkay Gundogan, how is he now, and when is he back with you?
Today was the first day he came back to the locker room. Still no training with us, and it's 2-3 days. It was 15 days isolated. And today was the first day. We'll training the last 2 or 3 days. And this international break, he will training with the rest of the players are here, and we're going to see.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Guys, we'll now do the usual 10:30 embargo for this evening.